The faces of 10-year-old murderers. Tonight, the first new pictures of Thompson and Venables, new revelations about their years in custody, and threats to hunt them down if they're released. It's 8 years since two 10-year-old boys murdered James Bulger. The anger is still there.
I am fully and utterly in favour of doing anything to keep those lunatics, those evil, wicked, vile people into prison, Thompson and Venables. I don't think they have been punished in any shape or form. They have not served a long sentence. They have not been treated like criminals.
It's a regular topic on Pete Price's phone-in, and the response is always the same.
Hello, Leslie.
Hiya, Pete.
Hiya, Leslie. What can we do for you?
Where do we start, Pete, again? What do we do with them? We keep them locked up for life. Because at the end of the day, it's Ralph and Denise and the rest of their families and friends that are doing a life sentence, not them, Pete.
Thank you very much for talking to us, Leslie. Let's go to another call. Hi, Paul.
They should have been hung and put in gibbet.
Really? You would have hung two little 10-year-old boys?
Yeah, well, when they were old enough to appreciate the punishment.
So you would have waited till they got older and then hung them?
Yeah.
So you kept them locked up and then hung them?
Yeah.
All right, Paul, thank you very much for that. Give us a ring, 0151 47209.
The two killers are now eligible for parole, and Pete Price is among those campaigning to keep them locked up. Public opinion seems firmly on his side.
It's a very emotive subject for people of Kirby, and I'm sure for the rest of Liverpool. I can't ever begin to think how two children of that age could actually partake in the evil that they did.
These pictures of Robert Thompson and John Venables have never been seen before. Taken at the time they were charged, they're also the last pictures you're allowed to see. A court order means more recent ones can't be shown. We can't speak to anyone involved in their care or custody, or say where they're held. The legal restrictions mean very little hard information has ever emerged about Thompson and Venables in the last 8 years. Recently, the Lord Chief Justice said they'd made remarkable progress. But how do we know? How has the system dealt with 10-year-old murderers? What treatment have they had? Are they still dangerous? Up until now, we've only heard from those who want to keep them locked up for life. So tonight, we take a deeper look at their time in custody. And some of what we found is so controversial, it's not surprising it's been kept quiet. The secrecy is in stark contrast to the very public way this case unfolded. We all recognise the images. The Strand shopping centre in Bootle, a young child being led away by two older boys. Police hoped it was just teenagers messing around, and 2-year-old James would be returned safely.
Denise, what is your appeal to the public?
If you've got me baby, to bring them back.
For 2 days, the hunt for James dominated the news, and it seemed the whole country shared the Bulger's anguish. Then a group of boys playing on the railway line found a child's body. James had been cut in half by a train.
Well, it's fairly obvious that from the pattern of injuries that he hadn't been killed by the train. I mean, he'd been run over by the train, but he had a lot of head injuries, so we weren't dealing with a train death.
So tell me what the post-mortem established then about the injuries.
The post-mortem showed that he had a lot of what are called split wounds or lacerations, mainly to his head, which were the result of being struck heavy blows with the bricks and the iron bar that were found at the scene.
A 2-year-old battered to death, apparently by other children. It seemed impossible to believe. Over the next few days, about 60 youngsters were questioned. Then police were tipped off about 2 younger boys truanting from school when James went missing.
So when they said 10-year-old boys, you think, oh well, it's got to be done. Information's come in, so we've got to go and see him and interview him.
But you weren't
expecting
that you know, they could possibly be the ones?
Oh no, I didn't. I don't think the other detectives did as well.
Phil Roberts led the team that arrested Robert Thompson. He lived a few hundred yards from where James's body had been found.
Robert came down. He was neat, tidy, clean, ready for school. So I thought, oh well, I've got to tell him. So I sat him down on the sofa. I went down on my knees, sort of eye-to-eye contact. Said, Robert, I'm here because of James' murder. He says, yeah, no. She said, but we've been told that you might be involved in it. Then he started sort of panicking, sort of crying, but not crying with tears, just no tears, but crying. He was afraid more than anything.
Robert was taken to Walton Lane police station. His mother went with him. A couple of miles away, on the Norris Green estate, another team arrested John Venables and took him to Lower Lane police station.
The first thing I noticed about John is that he looked far younger than the 10 years that he was in actual fact. He looked like an 8-year-old. Little cherubic, angelic-looking face, supported by his mum, who was a nice, polite person. Would never have dreamt that he could be capable of a crime like this.
Robert was just remarkably young. That would be the first thing that struck you. He was younger, perhaps, than anybody had ever seen in a custodial setting before, let alone the seriousness of the offence. He was just so small. He was clearly very vulnerable. That's the clearest memory I have of it, just seeing someone so small, so young, in amongst so many adults in such a difficult situation.